Hello everyone, welcome. My name's Richard, and this new Model Y Juniper I've now had for a couple of weeks and covered over 1,000 miles on it. So, time for my 1,000 mile review. I'm going to tell you exactly what I like and what I don't like about the new Model Y. So before we get into it, what version is this I'm referring to? So I picked the long range rear wheel drive. So it comes with a long range badge. So this is not the dual motor one, that's quite a popular option. The reason I went for the long range rear wheel drive is because it's very efficient, a little bit more efficiency and range than the dual motor typically. So it gets the best possible, but also in the UK it keeps it under £50,000, which helps here with our commercial insurance policy. It means the younger people in our company, such as Tom holding the camera there, can drive this car. As soon as we've got a car that's over 50,000, they can't drive it so easily. We have to have special terms on the insurance policy. But it also gives the longest range out of all the Model Y range. I'm sure people are going to ask as well, is this the new 85 kilowatt hour pack? No, this will be the 79. The cars are now switching to the 82. So you can expect the very latest versions at the very end of 2025 to have even more range. However, I will talk to you about the real world range of this car later on. This is also the bog standard grey paint colour, stealth grey, which I like, looks really nice, and the bog standard 19-inch wheels, which for me have come with Continental Sport Contact 7 tyres. I thought it'd be on Hancooks, but there seems to be a mixture. It just depends which car you've picked up which day. You might get Contis, you might get Hancooks. For my 1,000 miles so far, they seem fine, don't have any qualms, and the car is nice and quiet like you'd expect. I have never washed this car, by the way. This has never been washed. It's done 1,100 miles. And it looks like this because it's never been touched yet. Okay, one of the best things about this car has to be its efficiency and real world range capability. There are other cars out there with bigger batteries, but from the battery in this car, which is about 79 kilowatt hours gross, my average efficiency from new over 1,100 miles is 216.7 watts mile for everything. The cold starts, the little trips, the longer trips, the motorway journeys, the family trips, everything. I regularly see under 200 watts a mile for any one trip that I do. So brilliant efficiency. That is 4.6 miles per kilowatt hour. When you do under 200 watt hours per mile, that's over 5 miles per kilowatt hour. And for a car this size, this much space, that's just brilliant efficiency. What does that mean for real world range? 350 miles. This car can quite happily do 350 miles of real world range. You never get what manufacturers quote, but to do 350 miles is just remarkable. It's more than your bladder can typically do. It's very handy for me. I do lots of long journeys, but for most people, the standard is obviously going to be just fine. But 350 miles of real world capable range is fantastic. The next thing I like is in here. I really like the simplicity of the Tesla dashboard. I really like the quality of the software. I really like the newer seats and the center console. And it's the little things as well. I mean, it's so simple, but 2 wireless phone chargers. So many cars just don't have that, or the wireless phone chargers in an awkward slot behind the cup holders or under the armrest. Just 2 wireless phone chargers. Big cubby holes. You can put loads of stuff in there. Cup holders, or cover them up, and a big armrest storage area as well. With this nice simplistic layout. And the new cars now have got a nice mixture of materials. The stitching along here is nice. We've got ambient lighting, we've got material in the door. The steering wheel feels nice, and the seats are comfortable, and they're heated and they're ventilated. So in here, I think is a great place to be. I don't think Tesla can be criticised for lack of quality feeling. I mean, it doesn't feel kind of luxury. It's not Bentley. It doesn't feel like luxury, but it feels nice. It feels modern, slick, very clean, and I like it. I really do. Of course, one of the key things with Tesla is just how good this software is, whether you're route planning, navigating, especially when you're touring. Again, we were on holiday recently down in Devon for like a long weekend, and when you're traveling around, it makes it very easy just to look for places, kind of go, oh, what's this down here? Oh, the Lighthouse restaurant, what does this look like? Go to the website of that restaurant and you can have a look at things. This software and the navigation and the ease of use of everything on here is just fantastic, as it always has been with Tesla really. The app is fantastic. The app always opens up very quickly and connects. So again, quicker than other cars that I've had by miles. So it connects to the car quickly, and I've got functions like activating the climate control, which is just activating the climate control. And if it's cold, the seats automatically come on, and the heated steering wheel comes on automatically. And the functionality app is great. And dog mode, I love it. So this is so useful for us. leave a message on the screen when the dog's in the car, the climate control's on, and I can even use the camera up here to look at the view of what's happening in the car at the time. And there's Tom filming. It doesn't work if I'm in the car, and that's why I'm standing leaning in through the window, by the way, in case you're wondering. Seems a simple thing, but just getting in and out of the car is easy. I've got good height here, and just the access, nice and easy. And I can have easy entry on as well, so my seat goes back and the steering wheel goes in. But this height of access means I'm just kind of stepping out of the car. I'm not climbing down, I'm not jumping up. So just great access. I've had a bad back recently, so it does actually make a difference. And yeah, it's just really easy to live with, very easy getting out of, including the back as well. Let me show you. That's the seat in my position. I get in, very easy to get in and out of. Loads of room under here for my feet to stretch out. Good leg room. I'm 6 foot tall, headroom's great, loads of knee room. And you can have 5 adults in the car, 4 very comfortably, but 5th is actually fine for quite a long journey as well. My daughter, of course, loves having this screen in the back so she can watch Netflix, YouTube, she can sort her own climate control out. And so, long journey, she's in here, happy, quiet, watching videos. Doesn't have to ask mummy and daddy to turn the heated seat on or off like you did in the cars without this. So the rear screen works well for us. If you were to have 2 children, I guess they do have to be agreeable that they're all watching the same thing. But the rear screen, my daughter does love it. It's great. We just got a pair of Bluetooth headphones from a common retailer and they've been great. The large glass roof is great, but what I noticed with the older Model Ys and Model 3s is that on a warm sunny day like today, I am fairly close to the glass, and being follically challenged, I could feel the heat coming through. Never like a major problem, never like a real issue, but it's weird because you could always kind of feel it. However, the new Model Y here has heat reflective glass, and when the glass is wet or you're above the car from like our office window, you can see it has a sort of blue colour to it, and that's because it's got some heat reflective elements to it, which means as I sit here now with the sun out, don't feel it. It's great. The sound system, some people will be aware that the dual motor long range has the full sound system and the subwoofer, whereas the rear wheel drive long range like this one and the standard don't have that. So how is the sound? Well, there's a couple of elements to this. One, firstly, fine, absolutely fine for just about everything most of the time. It's not quite as immersive, not quite such surround, but it actually has quite good clarity, quite a nice punch to it. And it basically feels like you've got a good sound bar. So when you have a good sound bar like on your TV at home, it's like that. Good sound bar with a couple of extra speakers around you for that bit of surround. Compare that to the full system. I've got to say, like in the newer Model 3 Highland and in the newer Model Ys, I find that the full system is actually a bit too boomy, and I prefer the sound system in the older Model 3s and Model Ys where you had the sub and you had good depth to it. But the newer ones I've actually found a bit too boomy. I'm no sound expert, but not amazing to my ears. I'm partially deaf in the mid-tones, by the way, so this is just my opinion. But as like I say, I never found the full sound system amazing. This sound system, if you're concerned about it, well, obviously go and try it out for yourself. But I think it's fine, and I don't just listen to TalkSport. I like a bit of house and Slipmat, and it's been great for everything. You can't go as loud as some systems, but plenty loud enough for what you're going to be listening to driving along for most people. So I think you'll find it okay, but of course you're just going to have to go and try it out for yourself. But in the real world, living with how you actually listen to music, not blaring loud, not testing it out, but just listen to the music while you're driving, I found it to be absolutely fine. The front space is really good and usable, and what they've done now with the Juniper is add a proper drain plug at the bottom. So now, especially this time of year, it gets pretty muddy walking in the forest, so boots off in there. It doesn't matter if this gets covered in mud, because later on we just rinse it out and the water will pour away. So great front design and big space. Perfect for your willies. Have you noticed on the front, is this the only car in production that has no badge or labelling on the front as to what manufacturer it is, apart from that bit? Apparently, probably so. What do you think of the front of these? I mean, I'm not a big fan really of a full light bar. I think that's been a bit done now, but I see where they're going because it's a bit like the Cybertruck. These are actually your headlights in here, and they are matrix, and they are pretty good. Now, these are really important. Good headlights is really important to me, as it is everyone, to be honest, safety, but My drive home, now that it's dark by the time we leave the office, is across the New Forest. The New Forest is one of the few areas where you can have wild animals everywhere. So you've often got pigs in the road, horses in the road, cattle in the road, things you don't want to hit. Not just for the things, but because of your car. You don't want to damage your car either, do you? So good matrix headlights really do make a difference, and these, I can confirm, are very good. The boot, which can be opened without touching it, you just have to stand at the back of it for a few seconds, is a good space, to be fair. I would love it if Tesla did a Kia EV9 sort of big square thing. I've got to admit, I would love that. But this has been serving my needs quite well. This parcel shelf, well, look, there are techniques and you can't kind of fold that down the back there. To be honest, I still probably will just put it in the garage and get rid of it. I've got a roof rack to go on here. So what is handy, the folding rear seats, the power rear seats. So that is actually quite convenient, to be honest. And then if I take that out, I can show you under here. I forgot that was in there. I'll put it on one day. So in here, yes, a little bit grubby, I'm afraid, because it has been used. The storage under here is fantastic, and there's also storage under that part of the boot as well, which is ideal for putting in a Tesla Owners Group umbrella. So the space in this is brilliant. I know there are aftermarket products that sort of fill this gap here, and I think I'll get some of them because often I've got like some shopping and it tips down here. So actually having those things there probably be quite handy, but the space in here is brilliant. I actually had to clear out a house the other day, not the entire house, but pick up a load of odd bits and pieces. And I wasn't expecting to, but I had all these odd like cups and plates and things, so I kind of laid them all out under the boot floor and then put some furniture bits on top, and then had some items from the garden on top of that. And the car swallowed it all, which was great. And none of the bits and pieces that were fragile actually broke. So that goes to say that the ride comfort must be pretty good. So let's talk about that. How is the ride comfort now? Well, it's great. It's kind of what it should have been all along. You wouldn't call it wafty like a sort of luxury air suspension car, but it's just a good balance now. It is quite comfortable. It is quite absorbent. Before, the suspension was just too firm, especially for a family car. A Model 3 you can get away with slightly firmer suspension because it's kind of lower down, feels a bit more sporty, but the Model Y has always been a practical family car at the end of the day, so it needed to have a practical ride and comfortable, which this now is. And I think they've got just the right balance between comfort but still being quite agile, doesn't wallow everywhere, it's quite sporty. So the ride now is great. Again, it will vary, it depends what you're coming from, but just take one for a good test drive and you'll find that the new Model Ys actually ride really quite smoothly. A nice balance, including the performance. So we did a video on the performance version recently, which has got bigger wheels, and normally a performance one would be firm. That has adjustable dampers, which this doesn't, but even the performance one rides really well. So if you're concerned about ride comfort in a new Model Y, I wouldn't be. I think it's just good balance, that is. So a couple of things I don't like, and that remains to be the door handles. I've criticised Model 3 and Model Y door handles for a number of years now, actually, and Elon hasn't listened yet. I mean, Elon, why are you not watching these videos? Come on. They work fine, and actually in terms of this sort of technique, that's not a problem. My problem is when it's dark, you can't see the door handles. So dark cars, especially dark door handles, you tend to be sort of prodding around the car like this, trying to find the handle. And I really wish that they would just put a light that comes on the car when you walk up to it. Now it could be there, maybe it's just a puddle light they put in under here, maybe they could put a light here, I don't know. Put a light somewhere so when it's dark and you come up to it, you've got a little bit of light in. My wife's ID3, as soon as you walk anywhere near that with the key in your pocket, it starts lighting up, illuminates the door handles, illuminates any puddles, and you just don't get that. Now, it's a first world problem, I know, I'm the first to admit that, but at night, it's just a bit of a pain in the backside sometimes. You end up getting, I've done it before, you get your phone torch out and you do this because you know the car's dirty. I don't want to pull around it and scratch it, so the phone torch on just to find your door handle. It's a bit annoying. My next slight bugbear is the steering ratio. Now, Tesla Model 3 Model Y always had a very fast steering rack, so I think it's one turn, lock to lock is you know, that's lock and that's lock one other way. So I think it just needs to be slowed down a tad. It's quite fast because it gives you that kind of sporty feeling, but there's times when you're driving fast on a country road, it's almost a bit too fast and a bit too reactive. I want it to just sort of be a little bit calmer. So a slight, it's not a big criticism, but a slight criticism, again, for the type of car. Maybe the performance one has a fast rack. The non-performance ones just back the steering rack speed off a little bit, just so it's not quite so skittish. I don't know what else is not so good. There isn't a lot. It's really good. Yeah, I have to say it is really good. I thought of a thing that's not good, and that will probably be changed to software. But when I click this button here, which puts it into autopilot, I don't have the ability to push it once just for cruise control and push it twice for autopilot, which is what they've all been able to do until now. And there's loads of times I use just cruise control and not autopilot. But now, that isn't a thing on the Model Y Juniper. If you're looking at this and saying, "Oh, Richard, you're being silly," honestly, it's a common theme at the moment, and it will probably be changed with software. But if I push that once, it will go straight to autopilot and not just cruise control. I can turn off autopilot and have it as just cruise control, but that's set then in the car, and I can't change that setting whilst I'm driving. The only workaround is potentially to have two driver profiles, and then you switch between driver profiles, and one's got autopilot off and one's got it on, and therefore when you press that once, that's the difference it will make. But that's a silly thing, and hopefully that gets sorted out soon with software. So what's my verdict? Basically it's excellent. I mean, I can't think of many a criticism of this car. Yes, the door handles don't have lights in the dark, and the steering rack's maybe a tad fast, but as an all-rounder, it's just massively capable. The range, the efficiency, the space, the software, the charging network, the route planning, and nothing else has quite such the same all-round ability. Combine that with the lack of sort of servicing requirements. Other cars and manufacturers still need to have a service every year or 2 years. I'm being quoted £450 for a service on a VW ID3 or a Kia EV9. You think, well, that's just crazy. What are you going to do for that? And the build, the reliability. Over there is a Model 3 that we've covered over 233,000 miles on, and it's never gone wrong. So I expect this to be just as capable. So people will call me a Tesla fanboy. I've been getting that for years. And look, there's other cars I like, and I have criticised Tesla plenty in the past. If people have watched the channel regularly will know I'm not, and I will happily criticise when things aren't so good. Well, I'll happily moan about them. But the reality is, this car is probably the best all-rounder I can think of. There are other cars that have maybe a more luxurious feel or more space or 7 seats. And obviously if you need those other cars, then that's great. And maybe Tesla isn't your thing, but what is this car like? What's my review? After 1,000 miles, I can only say it is very good, and there's not much to criticise at all. So I hope that's useful for you. If you've got one of these, you're thinking about getting one of these, go and look forward to that. Take one for a good test drive if you're not sure, you're undecided. But its wealth of capability is fantastic, so I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Thank you for watching that video, and hopefully I'll see you on another one very soon. See you.